Are we recording now?
No, fucking hit him.
What?
Backhand him.
Backhand who?
Talon.
Why? He's not doing anything right now.
Yeah.
I can't hit him if he's not doing anything.
Talon, do it.
Stop. Stop. Stop it.
You stop
I
it.
was going to say backhand him for something he's going to do later. And then
Thank you.
Ow!
Yeah, well, you probably deserve it.
God, you
Something
sound
like that.
like any anime
Oh,
girl.
I can be on the anime.
No,
I'll just make the
you
noises. Demon Slayer.
Oh, yeah!
Do the ooh-woo.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, God. He is way too good at that.
I don't like it. It's so cringy. Ah.
Who needs
Oh, Jacob! Jacob!
I wasn't gonna get shit faced, but I'm about to now. Come on.
And here is your morning cup of chaos.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, welcome to the shit show. Introducing first, he is half a man, a legend nobody gives a fuck about. He is the reigning dipshit, Jacob.
Da, 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 da.
Introducing next, he has the best face for radio. He is the man with the magic wand, Thomas. Boo the villain, boo! Then there's Soup.
Oh, wow.
And then it's me. I am the father diabetic. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready to fuck shit up.
You know what? You would be an awesome fucking, like, wrestling announcer,
Can
dude.
we appreciate the eye contact you and I had the entire time that happened?
It's true. If I looked anywhere else, I'd start laughing and ruin the entire thing.
I mean, you almost
I
said
don't know if it's a compliment or not, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
you almost said rating date Jake.
I know. Well, I started laughing hard about that one.
So if you guys are tuning in, thank you guys so much for checking us out again. You know, if you guys are new to the show, thank you for tuning in and checking us out. We
Get
are
fucked.
a morning cup of chaos. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Campbell. Today we have a special episode. If these guys could just fucking get it together, I love them so fucking much. We have a special episode today. We have been talking about doing deep dives on our channel for a fucking hot second. We're finally breaking away from the stories, and we're finally doing the deep dives. And Tom,
Wait, I can't swim.
Anyways,
fuck! We got Tom today. He's gonna be fucking reading this wonderful
Tom
story.
every day. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, you know, Tom is the best reader upon us. I mean,
That is actually really
Wait,
accurate.
no. He wasn't there that one podcast because he died. And then he came back to life the next
You
week.
died twice.
It's true.
chicken or rice.
You were
Rice
dead. You were
chicken.
dead for 2. We didn't even welcome him back when he came back.
No,
we didn't care he was gone.
because
Oh,
I was in
yeah.
fucking Kansas.
I mentioned him twice.
That's exactly why we didn't.
Oh,
All right, guys. So we're going to do the deep dive today over Rasputin, which I know Tyler, Talon, and me, Tom, know about. Jake, do you know anything about Rasputin?
He's got a huge dick.
Do you know the
Is
jingle?
that all you know?
No,
No,
I've
literally
heard
all
the
you
song
know.
once or twice for fun.
What's the song?
Do
What's the
it.
song?
Do the song.
Fucking Rasputin.
John Jacob
I'm not-
Engelhanger-Schmidt.
That's not the song. No, I'm not going to sing the song.
Sing the song, bitch.
No.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
Cue the disco music. It's such a banger.
Do you want me to beatbox?
Can we cut the commercial already?
All right, guys. So we're going to talk about Rasputin, who was born January 21st, 1869.
My birthday's
Nice.
January 14th.
No one cares.
All right.
We're not talking about talent.
January Club, Capricorn, I think.
I quit.
You know what they say about the Capricorns?
Commercial again. God damn it.
We're smelly and we have little dicks.
Oh, God.
God damn it. All right, there are a few records of Rasputin's parents. His father was Yefim, who was a peasant farmer, church elder, and he was also a courier for the government, which meant ferrying people and goods. He married Rasputin's mother. God, I hate you.
Why?
Because there's so much information.
Oh yeah, no, I wrote this story like forever ago. It was like 7 pages long.
So I saw the rough draft. That was pretty.
So
hefty.
would his father be considered like a fairy father,
He would be considered like,
like a fairy godmother, but a fairy?
a postman that would run around and fuck everybody's wives. Very nice.
The milkman.
Oh, right. He married.
Wow.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah, there was nothing.
He married Rasputin's mother, and I apologize beforehand. I am going to butcher a lot of.
Oh,
these
we are
names.
not
No.
Russians. we do
Wait,
not
wait.
speak Russian.
No, they don't know how to speak Russian. Let me see the name. I will pronounce it flawlessly.
And
Yeah.
here's how you really butcher.
Holy fuck. I don't have my fucking readers on. Father, Joachim. And Rasputin's mother, Anna, whatever. Bahashka.
That's not even close.
Nailed it, bud.
All right.
Fucking nailed it.
All right, I'm gonna try. Pokor Pokrovice. I can't even do it. I can't even do it.
Close enough. I think the accent you
my
do
God.
makes it so much
Pokrovsky.
better.
I hate you.
Pokrovsky
How did you
is
get
the
that?
town. The town
Oh, that's
they
the
live in.
town. Fuck me.
Anna
Okay.
Bahashka.
So basically, these people lived in Siberia.
In Siberia is still to this day majority uninhabited due to its frigid cold.
It's a cold motherfucker.
They at some point introduced a plant. I can't remember the name of it, but the scientific name is Herculeus. They introduced a plant for the feed for their cows early on, and the cows didn't like it. But it was an invasive plant, so it took over territories of land, and it burns you if you touch it.
So it's like herpes?
It's basically the reason
Land
it was,
herpes.
Cow herpes.
the reason it's named Herculeus is because in the legend it burned Hercules.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah, burned Hercules. It can be potentially fatal if it touches you too much. If it touches your eyes, it will blind you. It's basically like receiving a 3rd-degree burn right off the bat.
So it's like the jellyfish of land. Yeah. So imagine a man this era coming from a rigid, brutal, cold, miserable place where they send all these prisoners and just, Siberia. If you think about Siberia, you know nothing about Siberia. Just the name alone sounds fucking brutal. I mean,
Rasputin was one of 8 children that he was the only one that survived out of 8 children that his parents had. He's the only one that got out of infancy. He was later described as an unruly, miserable, and kind of an asshole.
Wow,
He was a
all of us.
miserable. Yeah, all of us right there.
I feel that.
But he was also gifted as being able to have the power of have the power to heal and have visions from God, which we all know how that song and dance goes.
yeah, no, I've seen cult leaders. I know how that shit goes.
I'm looking at you, Christianity.
Ooh.
I fucking butchered that.
Ow!
And now we're canceled.
Now we're canceled. The Pope's gonna denounce us.
Ah, fuck.
He can fucking denounce all this child touchers. Go on.
He was known around town though for public drunkenness at a young age, petty theft, and allegedly, coincidentally, given his parents' infamous reputation of stealing horses as well. Which I didn't know until actually reading about this man how high up stealing horses was.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
back in the day, if you stole someone's horse, that's like you're gonna lose an arm or your life.
Like they talk about him like having orgies and like he was accused of rape, he was accused of heresy, and the first thing they talk about every time for that time period is being a horse thief. And I just I sat there, I actually looked it up, and it was because I didn't realize that a horse was you got where you went. It plowed your
It was your
fields
car.
if you needed it.
Yeah,
Put your-
it was
it was
a life.
everything. It was your livelihood.
Well, the fun thing, not really fun thing. So, horse thievery, theft,
Horse theft. Yeah.
Got it.
horse stealing.
Words.
So that's like a high crime. But back in like the old West days, if you called someone a liar and they weren't a liar, that's going down for a gun duel showdown. And if you fucked with any of the U.S. Postal Mail services, that's a fucking hanging.
So what would today's stuff be then?
What do you mean?
What?
Like back then it was stealing horses and it was calling him a liar. What
It's
would-
called murder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you
now
go
we
down
actually
for
hold
life.
murder. Murder was
Words,
more.
right?
There was
It's
more.
more common.
At one point in time, there was actually, like, this is kind of getting off the Rasputin topic. At one point in time, there was literally, between the French and the British over the monarchy, they would actually start duels. And one guy actually, the way he started duels, he put people in a carriage with him. They went around, they lapped like a plaza or whatever, and stabbed each other as many times as possible. And as soon as they finished their laps, whoever lived was the one who won.
Well, even then, like going back to the old,
fucking cool.
going back to the old West, if someone shot somebody else, the sheriff would come by and eyewitness, like, yeah, they deserved it. You know, they did this, and the sheriff would be like, all right, get rid of the body.
Moving on.
That's pretty much.
Yep.
I mean, murder, like way back when, murder was not as serious as it is now.
No.
Other than murdering by words, the church, mic drop.
Joel Osteen, we're talking about you, bitch.
God, another call out, another cancel. Some bitch.
So for Rasputin's childhood, up to early adulthood, we don't really know a lot. You know, around that point, there wasn't a lot of record keeping. It was basically word from mouth on how stuff went. So a lot of the stuff we hear about Rasputin is just, it could be legends, it could be false, it could be true. We don't know. Historians agree, however, that most Siberian peasants, like his mother, father, most of them were illiterate throughout most of their lives. If at all they learned, it was a rough time. Only basically nobility had the ability.
Had the ability.
Nobility had the ability.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Nobility had the ability. That is.
Say that 5 times fast. Pause this fucking podcast. Say it 5 times fast. If you can't, then leave Tom alone.
I can't say it.
God,
five
you were
times.
brutal for that.
Thank you, Talon, though. I appreciate you defending me.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I'll fucking blow him up on social media. Call him an idiot. I don't give a fuck.
I'll do it right now.
But from local archival records, they suggest that he was somewhat of rural youth involving drinking, small thefts, disrespect for local authorities, but they contain no evidence of him being charged with stealing horses, blasphemy, or bearing false witness. All major crimes later imputed him as a young man.
So, what is blasphemy other than a Queen song?
It's basically like heresy. You're teaching.
Explain to me like I'm 5.
You're teaching, so the religion that you teach, you're teaching the opposite views of that religion as that religion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay, so pretty much picture like a cult and how they trick you into thinking that like they're the mouth of God. That's blasphemy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like,
if you're not represented by the
Everything.
church, and for the church, if you're not a clergyman and you're preaching the word of God and it's all wrong, that's blasphemy.
gotcha. So, lying about religion.
Exactly.
What we do every day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pope.
And we're working on it. God, this is like a heated debate for you.
Oh, fuck.
In 1886, Rasputin traveled to Abalak, Russia, some 250 kilometers northeast of Tumen and 2,800 kilometers east of Moscow. I don't know the actual mile for a kilometer.
We're Americans. We don't do that.
What part of Russia was it?
Tumen and
Moscow.
Abalak.
Oh,
It's
He
pronounced-
traveled to Abalak. I hate you. He was 18 years old when he met Priskoiva Dubrivina.
Do you want me to?
No.
Okay.
After a courtship of several months, they married in February 1887. Praskoiva remained in what was the name of the town again? Soup, you can say it.
Polkovic.
Thank you.
gotta
Throughout
get-
Rasputin's later travels, arise to prominence and remained devoted to him until his death. The couple had 7 children, although only 3 survived to adulthood. In 1897, Rasputin developed a renewed interest in religion, left home to go on a pilgrimage. His reasons are unclear. According to some, Rasputin left the village to escape punishment for his role in a horse theft. Other sources suggest that he had visions of the Virgin Mary or of Saint Simeon.
I have a comment here. Like, I could imagine Rasputin being like, "Oh God, the cops are on my case. I need to split town. I'm going to go see God now. Okay, bye, potato." Come on, what?
You remember
That was a-
Bye,
hold on,
potato.
hold on.
Why a potato?
Hold
I
on,
don't know,
hold
turn
on.
up.
Remember the episode of Men of Misfortune where I did that Japanese accent and you guys railed me for it? And you guys are doing a shitload of Russian shit. And
Who is attacking Ukraine right now?
So I can't feel sorry.
That's fair.
What did
okay.
the Japanese do to you? Huh?
Pearl
Exactly.
Harbor? I don't
Bomb
fucking
Pearl
know.
Harbor. He got me there.
You walked to that one. Come on.
For whatever reasons, Rasputin cast off his old life. He was 28, married 10 years with an infant son and mother on the way. An infant son and another child on the way. Mother child on the way.
I was going to say infant son and mother. Wait a minute.
Rasputin had undertaken earlier shorter pilgrimage to the holy Zemenskaya Monastery in Abalek and to Tobolsk's Cathedral, but his visit to St. Nicholas's Monastery in Verkhuturi in 1897 transformed him. There he met and was profoundly humbled by an elder known as Makari. Rasputin may have spent several months in Verkhor. These are the easiest ones out of all of this to say.
Yeah, no. When I did my deep dive, I had to like look at all this shit up, dude. It was like the hardest fucking thing.
Pronounce it right.
It was at this monastery. It was believed that that's where he learned to read and write. Because at the time, monasteries, everybody was able to learn it. If you were devout enough, you got to
read the Bible some way.
Well, I believe one of the jobs was they had to transcript the Bible onto a blank book, and so they could send out more Bibles at the time because Christianity was such a widespread religion.
And the printing press hadn't been invented
Yeah.
yet. My man.
So it was. I only know that because of the Season of the Witch movie.
I haven't seen that.
It's a good movie. Anybody who hasn't seen the Season of the Witch, watch it. It's a really good movie. It has Nicolas Cage in it.
My man.
That guy has multiple faces.
I hate you.
I don't get that joke.
He was in the Face Off, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's
Oh,
such
Oh.
a boo!
Hey everybody, this is Diabetic Daddy from Misfortunate Media. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is, therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in a relationship or at work. Not dealing well with stress? Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better, because you deserve to be happy. And now, you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself, because you are your greatest asset. Special offer to Misfortunate Media listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/misfortunate. That's betterhelp.com/misfortunate. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
So Rasputin went to the monastery of Verkhuturi, and that was where he believed to have learned to read, write, but later he complained that the monks engaged in homosexuality and criticized the monastic life as too coercive. He returned to Provoskaya a changed man. He looked deceived. He behaved differently. He became a vegetarian, swore off alcohol, prayed and sang much more fervently, following as a holy wanderer or pilgrim. He left Provoskaya for months or even years at a time just to wander the country and visit a variety of different holy sites.
Hold on a sec. So he was a vegetarian and an alcoholic?
Non-alcoholic.
No.
Wait.
Wait.
Before
He
he
swore off
wasn't.
alcohol.
Oh, that sounds fucking terrible.
He swore off alcohol, became a vegetarian after visiting this monastery.
Wait, the alcoholic of the group says non-alcoholics are terrible? No way.
Allegedly.
He's an
Dude,
AA.
a porch beer is fucking nice. Come on.
That's like a slur against alcoholics. You fucking porch beer.
Oh, we're bringing it back.
Should that be on the show?
Canceled.
By the early 1900s, Rasputin had developed a small circle of followers, primarily family members and other local peasants, who prayed with him on Sundays, other holy days, and when he was in Provoskaya. He was built a makeshift chapel in his father's root cellar, who he was still living with even over the age of 28. The group held secret prayer meetings there. Meetings were to subject of some suspicion and hostility from the village priest and other villagers. They were rumored to have female followers that would ceremonially wash Rasputin, and the group sang strange songs, and even that Rasputin had joined the Kilistai, a religious sect whose ecstatic rituals were rumored to include self-harm and sexual orgies.
Dude, sign me up to that fucking church.
What just got me, though, is the fact that he was alive not even 100 years before I was born.
World War I.
Yeah, he was still here.
Yeah.
Like this isn't like old stuff. Like that's the best thing about this is it was still relatively close to by the time most of us were alive.
And what's crazy is whenever you think about the name Rasputin, you think about the 18th century. You think about fucking faraway lands and a faraway time. And guess what? It was like not even that long ago.
I think of Anastasia.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the bad guy of the Disney movie Anastasia, even though that
seen it.
entire
Yeah, no, never
All
seen
right,
it.
so there's a Disney movie. Let me go ahead and
Really?
tell you guys. Give you guys cliff notes. There's a Disney movie called Anastasia.
Really,
where
I had no idea.
Rasputin, fuck you, man. Where Rasputin is the bad guy of the movie. It is completely 100% off. Completely 100% off. Like Anastasia died with the Romanov family.
Wait, they don't show Rasputin's dick on a Disney movie?
Bro, if they
should.
did, they would need 2 screens. That's
When
how
we
big.
tell you he's got a big
That's how
dick,
big this fucking
the
dude's
dude's
dick is.
dick
All right,
is in a museum right now. I'm
dude.
pretty sure.
So let me go ahead and
Fucking
cut
huge.
off. Let me go ahead and cut you off on that one. I was waiting for this to pop up. So like the Rasputin,
So are most girls.
Boner.
the Rasputin dick in a museum jar is a horse dick. That's how believable this dude's dick was. Like somebody
believe it.
saw this dick, they'd be like, "All right, that's a man's dick. This is a horse's dick," and people are like, "That's Rasputin's dick." Fucking mind blowing.
Good talk.
Word of
Fun fact of the day.
Word of Rasputin's activity and charisma began to spread in Siberia during the early 1900s. At some point during 1904 or 1905, he traveled to the city of Kazan, where he acquired a reputation as a holy man who could help people resolve their spiritual crisis, anxieties. But despite rumors that Rasputin was having sex with female followers, he made a favorable impression on the Father Superior of the Seven Lakes Monastery outside Kazan, as well as the local church officials, who also gave him a letter of recommendation to Bishop Sergei, the rector of St. Petersburg, who had arranged for him to travel to St. Petersburg. I'm staring at you, Jake.
Why?
You German son of a bitch. Russian. God damn
I am
it.
fucking German.
I'm
but-
German.
Yeah.
I'm like 50% German.
Time out.
I
Yeah.
forgot. No, I actually completely forgot. Isn't St. Petersburg? I forgot that it wasn't a German town, honestly.
You know, that blew my mind because I thought it was. Germany and Russia are so close that when World War II happened, everything got all fucked up. World War I, actually.
But upon meeting Sergei at the Nevsky Monastery, Rasputin was introduced to church leaders, including the Archmandrite, Theophan, inspector of the theological seminary, who is well connected in St. Petersburg society. Later, also served as the confessor to the Tsar and his wife, or the Tsar. I'm sorry, Tsar is wrong.
Czar.
Yeah. Theophan was so impressed with Rasputin that he even invited him to stay at his home. He became one of Rasputin's most important, influential friends in St. Petersburg. It gained him entry to many influential salons where the aristocracy gathered for religious discussions. And it was also through these meetings that Rasputin attracted some of his early and influential followers, many of whom would later turn against him. Which is politics in a nutshell. You can have friends at one moment, and as soon as the majority is against you, everybody's against you. You don't have
Julius
friends
Caesar.
Yeah, I was
anymore.
about to say Julius Caesar, you know, he built Rome from the ground up, and when his, use became useless, they stabbed him in the fucking back 100,000 times. So.
But he did make a good salad.
I hate you.
I fucking hate you so goddamn much.
Why would you do that? Why would
Caesar
you
salad.
disrespect the man?
Julius,
He fucking.
He was the last best Roman emperor. The
That's 'cause it fucking fell.
They stabbed him because they were bickering over who would take his power, and he didn't want to release his power.
Yep.
What do you think he said when he first got stabbed?
I'm pretty sure.
Ow, my back.
'Cause you guys are acting like a complete asshole right now.
I'm pretty sure his son was the first one to stab him.
That's the way I want to go out.
Your
Yeah?
son?
Yeah.
Can it be the podcast?
No.
Can we do it live?
No. If the last thing I see is you three, I'm killing myself.
No, on the podcast. On the podcast, we're gonna go on like a live stage and have your son come up and just stab you multiple times.
Tim, where you at?
He'd probably do it if we paid him enough, or just asked him to.
You can stay up an hour past your bedtime. Just stab daddy 4 times.
All right. So there were alternative religious movements such as spiritualism that had become popular among the city's leaders before Rasputin arrived in St. Petersburg. Many of the aristocracy were intensely curious about the occult and the supernatural at the time, and Rasputin's ideas, strange manners, the way he dressed and acted, brought curiosity to him from the St. Petersburg elites. His appeal may have been enhanced by the fact that he was also a native Russian, unlike the self-described holy man. And the actual the Tsarina was a German princess. It wasn't an actual
That was
Russian
a
princess.
big fucking deal in Russia because she was not a Russian-born, and it was a marriage between powers. It was pretty much any kind of aristocratic marriage. That whenever something like that happens, that the marriage you gain something from it. You're not marrying for love; you're marrying for power. So when she got married to the Tsar of Russia, there was a huge fucking problem, and the Russians felt like their voices weren't fucking heard because, who's gobbling that dick down? The Germans.
So it's another reason why marriage is stupid. Sorry.
Well, it also kind of brings to light the fact that even in this time age and period, it doesn't matter where you come from at this point. It's how charismatic you are. It's how you bring people to like you. It's who you talk to. It's all about who you know.
And that's like the base of this entire story. That's what's mind-blowing about all this. We have a peasant from Siberia who climbs up the patriarchy and becomes like the right hand of the Tsar.
Little known fact, but Drake's song was about him. Start from the bottom, now I'm here.
Boo!
We're going to have a moment of silence. Talon's no longer on the show.
I've never felt so uncomfortable when you guys are just staring at me.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Hey everybody, it's Diabetic Daddy from Misfortunate Media. If you're hearing this, it's probably because Soup said something and we're going to edit it out. But hey, since you're here, why don't you check out our other shows? We have an anime show that's called And Now I Mention Everything. We have a news show, Morning Cup of Chaos, and our other show, Men of Misfortune. We're everywhere where you get your podcasts. So remember, stay misfortunate, stay chaotic, and always listen to Mom. But, so they said that, who are we fucking talking about? Rasputin. He said,
Jesus Christ.
welcome to the shit show. They said that he was the holiest man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a holy man, but they liked him more because he was Russian.
Well, not to be confused with Julius Caesar, who
was the holiest
was
man.
holy because he got stabbed. All right, I'm done.
You fucking beat me to it. God damn it.
All right. Yeah, for real this time. We're going to have a moment of silence for Talon while we take him out back and shoot him.
We need taps to play, drums, bass, and go ahead and cue that up.
At the time, at the time he's doing this, he still has a family back in his hometown. Hasn't seen probably years, couple of months. He stayed in St. Petersburg for only those few months, and he was already influential with the royalty. And on his first visit, he returned to Pravorsky in the fall of 1903. 1905, he had formed friendships with several members of the aristocracy, including the Black Princesses or the Crow Sisters, which was Matilda and Anastasia, who had married the Tsar's cousins and were instrumental in introducing Rasputin to the Tsar and his family. Which brings us later down the road to the fact that a lot of the elites, when they started turning against Rasputin, they believed that he was so close to the Tsarina that they were conspirating together to take over the Russian monarchy through the Tsar. Believed that they were controlling him because they also believed that there was a sexual relationship between Rasputin and the Tsarina. Rasputin first met the Tsar of November 1st of 1905 at the palace. The Tsar was recorded the event in his diary, writing that he and Alexandra had made the acquaintance of a man of God. Grigory from Tobolsk province, Rasputin returned to the Pravorsky shortly after their first meeting and did not return to St. Petersburg until July 1906. On his return, Rasputin sent Nicholas a telegram asking to present the Tsar with an icon of Simeon of Verkorstroy.
Gesundheit.
Fuck
Yep.
you. He met with Nicholas and Alexandra on 18th of July and again in October when he first met their children. At some point, the royal family became convinced that Rasputin possessed the miraculous power to heal Alexei. But historians disagree when, according to the Orlando figure, Rasputin was first introduced to the Tsar and to Tsarina as a healer who could help their son in November 1905.
That's almost a bad word.
I'm just shaking my head like, don't. And here you are, fucking doing it.
It's
What?
Figes, okay?
Wait,
Figus.
no. What that shitty snack is called a fig, right? Fig Newton.
Fig Newton.
Yeah,
Fig
fig,
Newton.
fig
Man,
Newton. Those are good. You
those
shut your mouth.
come straight from a rhino's ass.
Controversial podcast.
This is your boy Mason from Misfortunate Media. Just want to let you know that we here support Fig Newtons. Yeah, that's all. Okay, back to the show.
And like we had just talked about before, much of Rasputin's influence on the royal family stemmed from the fact on several occasions that he had eased the pain of Alexei and who suffered from hemophilia. The Tsarina had a passionate attachment to Rasputin, believing he could heal her son's affliction. Rasputin had become an indispensable member of the royal entourage, but it is unclear when Rasputin first learned of Alexei's hemophilia or when he first acted as the healer.
So, the Tsar had a family. He has this beautiful family, but he could only produce girls. He finally has this boy, and is this weak, dough-ass fucking boy.
That poor guy.
Yeah, and he
Reminds me of
is
soup.
he's gonna be the fuck you. He is gonna be the one that fucking takes over Russia after he dies. This is his fucking heir. This is the one that is going to be in the fucking chair when he passes away. Russia's going to shit in a handbag because everything is on fire, and the Tsar is like, you know what? I need the son to fucking go ahead and kick this into overdrive. And he's got this hemophiliac fucking son that if a paper cut happens, there's like a 50-50 chance that this motherfucker is going to bleed out. So,
Bleeding out, digging deeper just
Stop.
to throw it away.
So, this sounds like any fucking anime, actually. Let's do a crossover.
so basically, Alexei, when he would get hurt, they would give him, I believe it was a pseudometaphed. The pseudometaphed increases, or blood thinners, basically blood thinners. He would bleed out more, and he would get more sick. And everybody's like, what the fuck's going on? Why isn't this helping? And Rasputin's like, everybody calm down. It's going to be okay. And eventually, that's how that happened.
How'd that go?
I'm going to explain that a little bit better. So basically,
Just called
what
you
had
dumb.
happened was during the summer of 1912, Alexei had developed a hemorrhage
Remix.
on his thigh and groin after a jolting carriage ride near the royal hunting grounds in Spala, which caused a large hematoma. In severe pain and delirious with the fever, the Savarvik appeared close to death. In desperation, Alexandra asked Vorbova to send Rasputin, who was in Siberia, a telegram asking him to pray for Alexei. Rasputin had wrote back quickly, telling Alexandra that God has seen your tears, heard your prayers, do not grieve. The little one will not die. Do not allow the doctors to bother him too much. The next morning, Alexei's condition was unchanged, but Alexandra was encouraged by the message and regained some hope that Alexei would survive. Alexei's bleeding did stop the following day. The doctor Fedorov, one of the physicians who
Russian
attended
names
Alexei,
are not our shit. We're
No.
getting there.
he attended Alexei. The recovery was wholly inexplicable from a medical point of view. Later, Fedorov admitted that Alexandra couldn't be blamed for this, seeing Rasputin as a mediocre man. Rasputin would come in, walk up to the patient, look at him, and spit. The bleeding would stop in no time. How could the Empress not trust Rasputin after that? And so going off of Soup's comment about it, the doctors would come in and they would deal with the pain first. And that was the worst thing to do. And eventually, at the time of the Black Plague, the plague doctors came in and would put leeches on you. When in actuality, that was hurting you more than helping you, because instead of actually treating any of the plague or getting rid of the causes, which was known later in the time that it was rats or fleas from the rats, that it was basically just bleeding them dry. So people were paying plague doctors to bleed their children or their loved ones dry with the leeches.
And if you're a hemophiliac, for people that don't know what that word means, it means your blood doesn't coagulate like normal people's blood does. So it doesn't create the scab that heals over, that turns into
like
the
your
scar.
blood cells won't fill the wound back up.
Yeah, so you just continuously bleed out. I mean, like a little cut can fucking end your life. So I mean that was going on. I mean, we had no medicine for that. We had no name for that at that point in time.
And like we said earlier, well, it's legit. A paper cut can kill you if you're.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
They called the discovery was wholly inexplicable from a medical point of view, but the fact is, it is only speculation of what could have happened. It was believed that most likely the recovery was because the doctors didn't disturb Alexei, and that aided in his recovery by allowing him to rest and heal, or that his messages may have aided Alexei's recovery by calming Alexandra and reducing the emotional stress on Alexei. But Alexandra believed that Rasputin had performed a miracle and concluded that he was essential to Alexei's survival. Some writers and historians claim that Rasputin stopped Alexei's bleeding on other occasions through hypnosis, and some say that Alexei's French language tutor, who speculated that Rasputin controlled Alexei's bleeding by disallowing the administration of aspirin, when widely used to relieve pain but unknown as an anti-clotting agent until 1950.
Yeah, so basically they're giving blood thinners to a hemophiliac who would get hurt on the regular because he's a fucking kid, and he would start to get really sick because of the loss of blood. And Rasputin would come in and be like, he is fine, everything's okay, mind about your business.
And I mean, the best thing to do if you got a cut that's gushing blood, the first thing you need to do is to control your heart rate.
Yep, calm the fuck down.
There's a lot of times where I split a finger open and I immediately take deep breaths, take pictures of it. I smashed a finger I thought was broken. I took a picture of it, and the guy training me, he goes, man, if that happened to me, I'd be passed out. Here you are taking fucking selfies with it.
This is my finger from this angle. This is my finger from this angle.
So, because of the royal family's belief in Rasputin's healing powers, it had brought him considerable status and power to court. The Tsar appointed Rasputin his lamplighter, charged with keeping the lamps lit before religious icons in the palace, and this gained him regular access to the palace, the royal family. And it also, in December of 1906, Rasputin had become close enough to ask a special favor to the Tsar, that he be permitted to change his surname to Rasputin Novoy, which is Rasputin New. Basically, it was a way for him to come out as, I am, like, reborn, this is who I am the holy Rasputin, everything before this, null and void. It's not who I am now.
And what's cool about that is, like, he's basically baptizing himself.
Mm-hmm.
So all the past crimes that he's done, he's like, hey, guess what? Top dog said I'm cool. Fuck everybody.
And it is,
all those horses I stole, go fuck yourselves.
there's no proof of that. There's no proof he stole anything. It was just the reputation that he had gained from either from his parents or just the reputation that they had garnered from rumors.
Because he's a piece of shit.
But basically, when he got the permission to change his name, it was so speedily done that it was believed that he had already planned it out and was just waiting until a little bit before that date through to change his name to ask. And at that point, he had the authority, so it just went right through. But at the time, he became a controversial figure and was accused by his enemies of religious heresy and rape. He was also suspected of exerting political influence over the Tsar, and who had even rumored him to have an affair with the Tsarina. The opposition of Rasputin's influence grew within the church. In 1907, the local clergy of Vorskoye, his hometown, denounced Rasputin as a heretic, and the Bishop of Tobolsky launched an inquest into his activities, accusing him of spreading false cult-like doctrines.
So basically, people are rolling up to the Rasputin's house and be like, yo, bro, you fucking? What's up?
It's more. I believe it's more along he gained so much power that there was fear he would be a threat to the monarchy down the line. And so at the time, all of his friends that had supported him decided to withdraw that support and say that he had start all the rumors, or if they were true, because we don't know now.
Monarchy, as in, monarchy is the form of government, not the butterfly.
Somebody
I am
shoot
so
this
fucking
man.
proud of you.
Like,
You figured it out. You've been talking for like an hour. You figured it out.
you're a disgrace to diabetics everywhere.
Yo, Jake,
Yo, what's up, dude?
you want to get swole?
Yeah.
You want to get tough?
Hell yeah.
Let me tell you about this kick-ass gym called Earn That Given Barbell.
Whoa, how much is it, dude?
It's $30 for a membership for 24/7 access.
What kind of lifting is there?
There's powerlifting and strongman equipment. Check them out at the Dubuque County Fair on July 30th.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah!
I want to go home.
In St. Petersburg, he was faced with opposition from even more prominent critics, including the Prime Minister and the Tsar's secret police. They ordered an investigation into Rasputin's activities. Stolypin confronted the Tsar about him, but did not succeed in reining in Rasputin's influence or exiling him from St. Petersburg. 1909, in Kohonia Berlatskaya,
Yep. Nailed
who
it.
had been one of Rasputin's early supporters in St. Petersburg, accused him of rape. She went to Theophan for aid, who it basically helped the incident helped to convince them that Rasputin was a danger to the monarchy. So basically, I personally, it came down to he should have kept his dick in his pants and he wouldn't have gotten to this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like his big horse dick. Like I don't know how you keep that inside.
Talon, you've been making stupid jokes the whole
No.
time. He can talk about the horse dick.
Rasputin got into all this shit because he was thinking with the wrong head. His life could have been totally fucking normal if he wasn't just fucking everything.
No, much harder it would have been if he would have just actually went about the monk way and didn't do that. He just stuck with his family. He could have brought his family with him to St. Petersburg. This whole
the
time.
family he fucking abandoned because
Yeah,
of
he
a monk?
abandoned for years.
That guy's great.
But basically, they accused him of rape, and she also claimed that Rasputin had assaulted the female followers and behaved inappropriately on visits to the royal family, particularly with the Tsar's teenage daughters, Olga and Tatiana. Rumors reported widely in the press after March 19th.
Thinking with your dick.
World War I, the dissolution of feudalism, and a meddling government bureaucracy all contributed to Russia's rapid economic decline. Many laid the blame on Alexandra, her evil spirit, Rasputin. One outspoken member of the Duma, far-right politician Vladimir Puriskovich,
Nailed it.
stated November 1916 that he held the Tsar's ministers had been turned into puppets whose threads had been taken firmly in hand by Rasputin and the Empress Alexandra, the evil genius of Russia and the Tsarina.
So, what he's basically saying is that once Rasputin died, he got reincarnated as Jeff Dunham. Puppet master.
I hate this man.
You fucking figured it out. We've been doing this show for almost a year now, and you figured it
No,
out.
we have not been doing it for a fucking
we've
year.
been over this.
I said almost a year.
No, it's not
it
almost
was
a year.
September. It's fucking April. Sorry, that wasn't March. It's April.
Are you done,
And,
Jake?
yeah. Sorry.
The only time you talk is to yell at Soup.
That's the only time he needs to talk.
I had to. Sorry. I'm here.
So July 12, 1914, a peasant woman named Chiona Guiva attempted to
Goulash.
assassinate Rasputin by stabbing him in the stomach outside his home in Provoskoye. Rasputin was sincerely wounded and for a time it was not clear would survive. After surgery, sometime in the hospital, he fully recovered. She was a follower of Ilodor, a former priest who had supported Rasputin before denouncing his sexual escapades and self-aggrandizement in December of 1911. A radical conservative and anti-Semitite, Ilodor had been part of a group of establishment figures who had attempted to drive a wedge between the royal family and Rasputin in 1911. The effort failed. Ilodor was banished from St. Petersburg and was ultimately stripped of his title. Gusava claimed that she had acted alone, having read that Rasputin in the newspaper and believing him to be a false prophet and even an antichrist. Both police and Rasputin, however, believed that Ilodor had instigated the attempt on Rasputin's life. He had fled the country before he could be questioned, and Gusava was found to be not responsible for her actions by reason of insanity. A group of nobles led by Prince Felix, Grand Duke Dmitry, Prince, and the politician Vladimir Prusagovich decided that Rasputin's influence over the Tsarina, I keep putting the T in there, threatened the empire. Tsarina. I know, I keep putting the T in there. They concocted a plan December 1916 to kill him, apparently by luring him into the Yusupov's Moika Palace.
What was it?
The Yusupov's Moika Palace.
One more time.
One more,
No,
one more
I'm
time.
not doing it. I'm
My
not doing
headphones aren't
it.
working. So
You got it
one more
twice.
time.
If you didn't hear it, that's your own fault.
How many assassination attempts has this been? This has been time number 1, right?
It's time number 1, and then in the basement they poison him with cakes that he initially doesn't eat, but after it's laced with cyanide, and he shows no effect. Then he asks for wine, drinks 3 glasses of wine, also poisoned, still no effect. It is believed that Rasputin was murdered during the early morning on December 30th, 1916, at the home of Felix Yusupov. He died of 3 gunshot wounds, one of which was close range shot to his forehead. Little is certain about his death beyond this, and the circumstances of his death have been subject to considerable speculation. According to the historian Douglas Smith, what really happened at the Yusupov home on 17th of December will never be known. The story that Yusupov recounted in his memoirs, however, has become the most frequently told version of events. Yusupov said that he had invited Rasputin to his home shortly after midnight and ushered him into the basement. He had offered Rasputin tea and cakes, which had been laced with cyanide. Rasputin initially refused the cakes, but then began to eat them, and, to Yusupov's surprise, was unaffected. He asked for wine, drank 3 glasses, but still showed no signs of distress. And around 2:30 a.m., Yusupov excused himself to go upstairs where his fellow conspirators were waiting. He took a revolver from Dmitry Pavlovich and then returned to the basement and told Rasputin that he'd better look at the crucifix and say a prayer, referring to a crucifix in the room, and then shot him once in the chest. The conspirators then drove to Rasputin's apartment, where Sukhatin, wearing Rasputin's coat and hat in an attempt to make it look as though Rasputin had returned home that night. Upon returning to the Moika Palace, Yusupov went back to the basement to ensure that Rasputin was dead. Suddenly, Rasputin had leaped up, attacked Yusupov, who freed himself with some effort, and fled upstairs. Rasputin had followed him into the palace's courtyard, where he was shot by Puriskovich. He collapsed into a snowbank. The conspirators then wrapped his body in cloth, drove it to the Petrovsky Bridge, and dropped it into the Malaya Nevaka River.
So he was shot. He was poisoned multiple times.
So look at the difference, though. So this is just the recounting of Yusupov. But the belief is that Rasputin was shot in the head. That's what they actually believe happened. But they don't agree with the memoir of the man who was one of the people there killing Rasputin. It's not. It is possible to survive, especially at that time, to survive a bullet wound.
I was gonna say that the ammo, the bullets, everything has got to be a lot weaker than what we have now. I mean, you get shot by a 9, you're on the ground and you're bleeding out. I mean, I'm sure this bullet. How do bullets work now? They go through. They don't bounce around.
Depending on the type of bullet you got.
Yeah, I feel like a musket. Like I'm thinking, obviously the early 1900s, a bullet whenever it goes through, it's gonna bounce around. But I mean, they've been working on this for a while. It's not Civil War time.
Depends on what.
It's World War I time.
Yeah.
It's World War I time. So we're not using musket
through.
balls that bounce around. They're gonna go straight right through. So I mean, how many times was 50 Cent shot? Like 9 times.
I don't know why I know that, but 9, yeah.
9 times. He was shot.
He knew
9
that, like,
yeah.
immediately.
I don't know. I even pointed at him.
I didn't even think of 50 Cent. I thought of Biggie.
He was twice, I think.
Twice, yeah. But 50 Cent was shot 9 times and was
And
able to
lived.
walk. Yeah, and it was
He
able
sang
to walk
about it.
away. Yeah, and walked away.
He got shot like I got shot,
What also
but
gets
he
me?
ain't fucking breathing.
What also gets me
not-
the fact that they had at this time they had
I'm not.
apartments for rent. Like Rasputin was renting an apartment
Where's his family this entire time?
back in his hometown.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah, yeah. He dished that shit like it was fucking, like it was hot. It was fuck this.
News.
potato.
Go ahead, Tom. News of Rasputin's murder spread quickly, even before his body was found. Persovich spoke openly about Rasputin's murder to 2 soldiers and to a policeman who was investigating reports of shots shortly after the event, but he urged them not to tell anyone else. An investigation was launched the next morning. The Stock Exchange Gazette ran a report on Rasputin's death after a party in one of the most aristocratic homes in the center of the city in the afternoon of December 30th, 1916. Two workmen noticed blood on the railing of the Petrovsky Bridge.
We're not Russian. We're not Russian fluent. Promise you.
And found a boot in the ice below. The
American
police
fluent.
began searching the area. Rasputin's body was found under the river ice on the 1st of January, approximately 200 meters downstream from the bridge. Dr. Kosorotov, the city's senior autopsy surgeon, conducted an autopsy. Kristotov reports was lost, but he later stated that Rasputin's body had shown signs of severe trauma, including 3 gunshot wounds, one at close range, one to the forehead. One at close range to the forehead. A slice wound to his left side, and many other injuries, many of which Kosorotov felt had been sustained post-mortem. He had also found a single bullet in Rasputin's body, but stated that it was too badly deformed and of a type too widely used to trace. He found no evidence that Rasputin had been poisoned. He also found no water in Rasputin's lungs, and at that reports Rasputin had been thrown into the water alive were incorrect. Later accounts claimed that Rasputin's penis had been severed, but Kosorotov had found his genitals intact. They're not in the museum in Russia. That is just a fake dick.
Guys,
Damn it.
that is a horse dick, dude. That is a straight up a horse dick. That is not real.
Same
a lot of
thing.
people are like, oh yeah, Rasputin's dick's in a fucking museum in Russia. And it's like, no, it's not.
He was buried. Rasputin was buried January 2nd at a small church with Anna Vyrubova had been building at Tsarskoye Selo. The funeral was attended only by the imperial family and a few of their intimate friends. Rasputin's wife, mistress, and children were not invited. Although his daughters met with the imperial family at Vyrubova's home later that day. His body was exhumed and burned by a detachment of soldiers shortly after the Tsar abdicated the throne in March 1917, so that his grave would not become a rallying point for supporters of an old regiment, ending the story of an antichrist known as Rasputin and the Romanov family.
So he was born January 28th and died January 1st.
He was born 1869 of January 21st.
He had a long life.
And he died, or he was buried this January 2nd of
And my
March
birthday
1917.
is in the middle of all that.
I'm proud of you,
Again,
Talon.
no one cares.
Not the
No
year
one
was.
is literally asking about what day you were born. I promise.
Nobody
you.
cares about the diabetic daddy.
You know
Same.
what's crazy is the fact that he survived all that. I mean, if there was no water in his lungs, obviously post-mortem, he was holding his breath. He was shot all those times. He was poisoned all those times, and he was able to hold his fucking breath underwater until he was done.
Do you know what post-mortem means?
After death.
After death. So how is he holding his breath after death? And he's in
Yeah,
the
he
water?
literally said there's no water in his lungs.
If there's water in his
If he
lungs,
was
they-
holding-
they
if he was holding his-
not,
He was dead by the
he
time he
would-
hit
he
the
would have
river.
died. There would have been water in the lungs anyway
he
if he
didn't
would have
drown.
had gunshot wounds.
All right. So all right.
So he was dead before he hit the water.
All right. My bad.
Hey,
Didn't
hey,
understand it.
Soup.
I'm working on it.
He got shot and poisoned, then he died, and they threw his
Well,
body in the river.
What gets
I
me?
got that.
What gets me is the fact.
I thought he survived all that, and then hit the water. He was able to hold his breath.
Not very well.
Well, you gotta.
I didn't think about how all that went out. Fuck
You
guys.
gotta think too. Is the poisoning and everything that happened in the Yuspov's basement isn't believed to be true because they had an autopsy of Rasputin at the time, and so it really gets me is the fact that there's so many wild stories. Even though they have the autopsy of he was shot 3 times and one point blank in the head. Like, I'm sorry. At that point in time, you're not surviving that unless you're a vegetable, or you are able to heal yourself from whatever source. But it's crazy to think that just because of his infamy, there's so many different stories or superstitions about who he was as a person. Some believe that they actually never burned his body and that he never died.
I believe it. He's the devil.
He's Biden.
Fuck.
And we're canceled again.
And all the Democrats.
Number 3.
Fuck.
Who's keeping track? How many cancels this episode?
Fuck.
5.
I got a random. I got
Wrong,
I got a
we're at 3.
completely random fact though for you guys. Did you know that Disney was its own government? Was its own government enclave? It was given that right by the state of Florida to govern itself. So all the little pocket of homes inside of the Disney governed area are governed by their laws, their police, everything.
I wonder what the tax is like.
A lot. If
Fuck
you live in
that.
Disney. It's Mickey Mouse, man.
You gotta give me my fucking money.
I'm just
Where's
imagining.
my fucking money?
I'm just imagining a no knock, and it's a guy wearing a Mickey Mouse hat with a Mickey Mouse badge busting down your door.
Shit, man. I'd be the guy wearing, like, the half, like, scalped Rasputin face with the dick obviously exposed, knocking on doors, being like,
How's
hey.
that Disney?
It is 100% Anastasia. That was a Disney fucking movie.
I'm pretty sure that was a
callback.
Pixar movie.
That was. Act like Disney and Pixar are not fucking owned by the
They're not.
same fucking person.
They're not.
They're not?
They're not.
They're competing
They're not.
companies.
They're competing companies, man.
You're shitting me.
Why is he
We're
leading
blowing
this
Seth's
podcast?
mind right now.
Why is he leader?
He fucking elected himself. We're just too stupid or don't care.
That's pretty fair.
We voted him out like 3 times already. He's just keeps
Wanna do it
coming
again?
back.
You wanna do it
He's
again?
fucking General.
You want to
Herpes.
do it again? We'll all do it again.
I'll do again.
Yeah, it's a Pixar movie.
That's crazy. See, I thought it was Disney.
Nope,
All right,
Pixar. That's why it's
my
not on
bad.
Disney
False
Plus.
information, people.
You're fake news.
yeah, I
Fucking
know,
sue
me
'em.
too.
Have you guys ever seen Bartok the Magnificent?
Of course not.
It's hilarious. You should watch it.
So that's our deep dive on Rasputin. We did that. That was our
And
thing.
we survived because I have floaties.
I think we did good.
I think we did all right. You know, for our first deep dive as a group, like that was that, and we chose like a Russian topic. Like we chose like something
It's
hard.
pretty
Like
bold
I wanted
move, not
I
gonna
wanted
lie.
you guys to go through the ringer for something that like there were a lot of saves in that. I mean, we did all right.
That was pretty good.
I fucking love you guys. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Campbell. Please check us out on Spotify. We've got like 20 different fucking apps that we are a part of. Wherever you guys get your podcasts, check us out.
I am Tom with the magic wand.
I'm your reigning dipshit, Jake.
I'm your diabetic daddy. Now, with
Time
the
for-
Russian
Time for the dad joke. I'm ready for it.
with
Not
the
even
Russian
Russian.
story, we got a Russian joke.
Oh no.
So what do you call a gassy Russian?
What?
Vladimir Putin.
Oh, thank God we don't have any listeners in Russia right now.
Stay
we do.
chaotic.
Oh,
listening.
stay
Everybody's
misfortunate, and we are fucking out, boys.
And there is your morning cup of chaos. Stay thirsty.